listen, we in this thing today. And today, I already know, I got a special guest with me, man. Well, really, he ain't no guest no more, you know what I'm saying? My good friend, Dr. Larry Ford, founder of Hands Guide You. Let's welcome to the show, kid. What's going on, man? How you been?
I've been good. How about yourself?
I've been good. And look, really excited about the show, about to get you on this show today, man. You know, I've been talking all week about growth, you know, about that internal pressure, you know, that some of us have been feeling and some of us are feeling right now, man. And when there's nothing wrong on the side of our life, right? Life is good, health is good, family good, but we got this internal pressure, this stretching, this pulling. I've been talking about that all week long, man, about how growth spurts don't feel good. So today, I wanted to bring you on so you kind of give the community, you know, your perspective about that, about what you teach in your clinic about this stuff, anxiety, growth spurts, all this stuff. Today, man, that's what this episode is about what really happened in your body when you're outgrowing a version of yourself that no longer serves you. You know what I mean? So how you been, Dr. Ford? How you been?
I've been good, man. Everything's been good. No complaints. Been good working along. You know, same thing, different day. Serving the community, being present in the community, and working and serving my population. Family good. Everybody's good. School is about to end. Getting ready for summer. Take a little time off and then starting over again. It was a graduation yesterday. One of the university graduations was yesterday. So the universities are finished. They're finishing up. So
man, now didn't you see the twins got an offer from LSU? They got offers, right?
Yeah, they got a few offers. One is from Army, one is from NSU. A lot of other universities are looking at them. So they're continuing to develop and continue to grow.
Man, I love it. Well, tell them Uncle Dope said keep doing their thing, baby.
I will, definitely.
Yeah. So listen, we about to just jump right into this. You know we jump right in, deep in.
Yeah.
Perfect. So listen, the first question I wanted to ask you for the community, man. It's the first question I want to ask. Let's start with this one. If nothing is wrong and nobody life on the outside, but they're still feeling anxious, that pressure, that pull that we talk about on the inside, can you explain to the community what's really happening internally from a clinical standpoint?
Yes. So clinically, from a clinical standpoint, I shouldn't say this, but there's always something wrong. If you have a history of dysregulation, a history of high childhood experiences, internally, your body in the beginning stages, initially, your body recognizes there's something wrong. We celebrate growth externally, and we actually destabilize growth internally. So what I mean by that is your body reacts to what's familiar. So you externally, you can be like, man, this is great. Everything feels good. But internally, you say, man, something doesn't feel right. That's growth.
Mm-hmm. So would it be safe to say that when you're going from a version of yourself that don't longer serves you, it's very uncomfortable? Would it be safe to say that growth is always uncomfortable? And because internally you're basically letting go of an identity, I would say. Would that be safe to say that?
Yes, because a lot of people experience what we call dysregulation, meaning the nervous system becomes overstimulated, hyper alert, because the body is trying to adapt to change. And the brain doesn't automatically interpret growth as positive. The brain interprets what's familiar as positive, healthy or good, even from a safety standpoint. You know, that's important to know.
So
the brain doesn't always interpret growth as
nothing is wrong.
Positive.
Say it again.
I said the brain doesn't automatically interpret growth as positive. Although you
So
can be
so
doing
there
some
can be
positive
nothing
things in your life.
external on the outside, yet you can still feel all this internal pressure. The brain is interpreting it the wrong way. Basically, just saying.
Yes, yes. Hmm.
Mm, okay. So listen, which brings me to my next question that I have. So so kind of touch on growth and anxiety because I know like when we're feeling anxious, fight like nervous system activation, right? But also when we're growing and when we're stretching ourselves and when we're reaching for things that in life that we haven't done before and it takes us out of our comfort zone, we get those same type of internal pressures. So talk to the community a little bit about the difference between growth and when your nervous system is really activated going the wrong direction and when it's activated on the right direction. Like you used to always say, right train, wrong track. So
Hmm.
talk about a little bit about that, man, and how the difference between when you're growing out of something, when you're just really activated and on well, and you got to kind of regulate yourself.
So even though the new version of yourself is healthier and your goal is to be healthier and to be this new version of yourself, your nervous system may still resist it initially just simply because it's unfamiliar to the body. The body likes to do what's comfortable. That's why your brain loves to be on autopilot. The more your brain is on autopilot, the more things you can think about, the more creative you can be, the more tasks you can do that are unnatural throughout the day. That's why most people, when you wake up and get out of the bed, you do the exact same routine. When you wake up in the morning, you do the exact same routine before you go to bed. When you get in your car, you do the exact same thing, same routine. Because when your brain is on autopilot, it doesn't have to think. It can be thinking about something else. The brain is really an amazing organ. But this also goes for this. When you're doing new things, now your brain is thinking and your brain is actually telling you, your unconscious mind, hey, what are we doing? Why are we doing this? You are when we get to this stop sign, we always turn left. Why are you turning right? What's going on? Uh-oh, increased heart rate. Uh-oh, increased blood pressure. But then you regulate and you calm down and you relax and everything's good and you say, oh, it was traffic that way. That's for a individual that has a regulated nervous system. But to an unregulated nervous system, individual who's always stressed, always overwhelmed, where it persists and it's a um, daily routine anxiety. Now I'm talking about anxiety. This is where your frontal lobe shuts off. I hate to be clinical, but the your fight or flight is now ignited in your brain. Now you're in survival mode. Now you're in
Mm,
survival mode, and now your brain is thinking, "What's going on? How can I? What's going on? What are we going to do in this situation?" When you're simply just changing the route that you're going to work. Does that
And
make sense?
when people get into survival mode, kind of stay just a little bit, that collapses our perspective, our that collapses thought process. So just kind of touch on that a little bit about how when we are in survival mode, it really shrinks our perspectives, shrinks our thoughts, because like you said, the brain likes familiarity. So just kind of stay there just a little bit and kind of touch on about how dysregulation really causes us to make not so much sound decisions. Let me say it that we don't really make decisions when we're dysregulated.
Oh yeah, because when you're dysregulated, decision you have to you're reacting. You really don't have time. Your body clinically doesn't have time to make a appropriate decision. That takes thought and effort. That's your frontal lobe. When you're dysregulated, when you're in fight or flight, or when you're have a history of severe stress or severe anxiety, you're reactionary. You're very reactionary. It's no different. You have a saying, if you see me in the woods with a bear, help the bear. What you're really saying is, I'm calm, I'll be okay, nothing's wrong with me. The bear is going to be scared. But if you're in that thing about the individual that's in that same situation, you don't have minutes to think. You don't have time to come up with an appropriate decision. This is life or death. What do I do right now, right then? And that's the individual that's dysregulated, because
Mm,
healing requires adaptation.
Mm.
Growth requires a neurological adjustment. Healing
I like
requires you to
it requires adaptation and
yeah,
growth
healing requires you
requires.
to yeah, healing requires you to adapt while growth requires a neurological adjustment.
I
You're
like that.
rewiring, you have to
I like
rewire your
that.
nervous system.
So talk a little bit about this though. So I wrote this down. So growth can feel like anxiety because your body doesn't recognize the new level. That's something that you said too, right? Because your body doesn't recognize that new version of you on your new level. So that growth can feel anxious or that growth can feel overwhelming to you, even though it's good for you. Correct? That's kind of what you're saying too about that.
Yes, yes, that's that neurological adjustment. That's that neurological adjustment, the rewiring of the body, the rewiring of the brain, you know, and that's uncomfortable. So like when individuals they actually set goals and they make changes in their life, they set better boundaries in their life, or they have goals or they have things that they're working on, that's going to feel uncomfortable, and that's quite okay. But in those situations, self-talk is extremely important. You have to literally tell, because your body, anytime your body is telling you something wrong, you have to have internal dialogue with your body.
Mm,
You have to understand what's going on. If you do not understand what's going on, your body will keep letting you know that something is wrong, even in change, even in healthy change, even in toxic change. Toxic
mm.
change.
So that internal dialogue you talk about. So this is something I tell the community too. Is that internal dialogue you talk about is basically just grounding your body when you're going through any type of change, right? And then you have to tell your body we're safe. Correct? Hey, you got to ground it, and then we're safe. We're safe to change. We're safe to love. We're safe to grow into this level of ourselves. So what I'm hearing you say is that no matter what type of change it is, you got to ground yourself and then you got to talk to yourself. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, yes. You say it, you hear it, and you store it in your brain. You say it, you hear it, and you store it in the brain. The power of life and death is in the tongue. Your brain doesn't your brain doesn't negotiate with what you tell it. It just listens and
Mm,
makes decisions based on what you tell it, what you say
mm,
to it.
mm,
I'm
mm.
so
Okay,
scared.
so I put down here
For
the body
instance,
will
the
cause
individual that
growth
walks around
anxiety
all day.
because it's
Hold on, give me a
familiar.
second. Give me a second, Dose. That's like the individual that walks around saying, "I'm scared all day. I'm scared, or I'm sad, or today's not going to be a good day. Today's going to be a bad day." Well, your body and your mind will make sure that you have a bad day. That's how people lose their. You can't continue to tell yourself negative things and get positive results. Nor can
Mm,
you continuously tell yourself positive things and get negative results.
mm, mm. So it really does work in connection. You have to think it, then you have to feel it, and then you have to put that on repeat mode and keep doing it. That what I hear you say? Think
Yeah,
it,
I would
feel
say
it.
I would say think it, store it. Because once I say it, think it, say it, and store it.
Mm,
Think it, say it, and store it.
mm, think it, say it, and store it. Because like you said, what you say out loud, you hear your brain instantly stores, correct?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So you
Internal
think,
dialogue.
say it, and store it. And you put that repeat mode. So no matter what change you're going through, like you said, it's gonna always feel uncomfortable. Your body gets familiar with it. Correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Got you. Got you.
Yes.
So the community out there, y'all going this growth spurt. Y'all been on this all week. You could be going through a financial growth spurt. You could be going through a relational growth spurt. You could be going through health growth spurt. No matter what type of growth spurt you're going through, it's always going to feel uncomfortable because you're going into a new identity and your body doesn't recognize it yet, right? You always hear me talk about wilding out, right? My body's freaking out, fight or flight, because it doesn't recognize that new level. So this is what I want to say here that leads us to our next point. Why does the body actually fight us? You know, you might have touched on this, but why does the body actually fight us when there's something good for us and we know it mentally, but our body like, so what's really happening? I know we touch on that, but kind of do a deeper dive on that. Why our body fights us so much? We're trying to level up.
Oh, because two reasons. One, it's uncomfortable, and two, it's unfamiliar. You know, remember when I said the nervous system you have to reroute your nervous system and have a new nervous system. The highways are built. I say it like this: I-240, I-35, I-240, I-44, all the highways, right? And we jump on those highways with no problems. Those are habits and behaviors and routine that our brain has stored. To change that tells myself that I have to find new highways. They're not developed yet. They're not built. You have to build them. That's where change comes in. So the change comes in. Now, change is going to be very uncomfortable. But being overwhelmed over periods of time is okay. It becomes a problem when it impairs you daily. That's anxiety. But to get back to it, you have to understand, individuals have to understand that change is uncomfortable. And the nervous system likes to be familiar with what you're doing. That's when that's when you apply the grounding techniques, the self-talk, and the other things that you talked about. That's where you have to implement those things in your daily life. And you have to let your body be aware. Listen, we all talk to ourselves. Every human being that has a heart rate and a respiratory rate talks to themselves each and every day. It matters what are you actually saying to yourself through the good times and the difficult times. You have to talk yourself through those moments, every moment throughout your day. You have to talk yourself. You have to recognize what your body is telling you, what your body is feeling, and you have to understand that the ability to be self-aware. The more aware of who you are and what you are and how your body feels, the better individual you'll be and you'll become. Come on, man. It's no different than having a cold. If I don't recognize the signs and symptoms, the cold gets worse. If I don't recognize my body is overwhelmed, I get more overwhelmed. And if I don't change my habits and patterns, now this becomes a habit. And now my life begins to get impaired. Now my sleep is off. Now my mood is down. Now I worry all the time. Now I don't have the ability to control my thoughts. That's clinical anxiety. It's okay to be overwhelmed, but when you're overwhelmed, you have to have the ability to bounce back. And you have to understand why you're overwhelmed and what's happening in your body internally.
I like that. I like that. Understanding. See, look, that's part of our framework that I teach all the time. Recognize, right? Y'all always hear me say, you gotta recognize pattern. Dr. just said, you gotta recognize when you're feeling overwhelmed. You gotta recognize when your thoughts are racing. You gotta recognize when anxiety is trying to creep up in you, right? You gotta recognize when fear is trying to overtake you, right? Because you're in total control of your life. When you recognize that, then you got to slow yourself down, people. Like the Ford is talking about, slowing yourself down, right? Right, regulating your body. So man, I love that, man. So I wrote this down too. Your body is sabotaging you. It's protecting what feels familiar. That be
Yes.
safe to say.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So,
Yes.
so basically, the reason why our bodies fight so much, I just heard you say, well, I want to break for the community, is because what we're trying to level up to, well, okay, let's say it like this. Any type of change is unfamiliar to the body. So the body's going to fight it until we make it familiar to the body. Is that what you're
Yes.
saying?
Yes. But how do you so if what you're saying is a two part process, how do we get between that one and the two? There's a gap. That's where the self-talk, that's where the grounding, that's where the self-awareness comes in. Because that section right there, 1 2, there's a space right here. That gets real scary. That gets real scary. So how do I get from one end to the bridge to the other end of the bridge where change is?
Mm,
That's the
mm,
part we have to figure out as individuals. That's where the grounding techniques come in. That's where the self-regulation comes in. That's where the refocusing your thought comes in. That's where the positive affirmation comes in. That's where the healthy lifestyle comes in. That's where the all the things that go in that area comes in.
See, man, see, love that. See, and that's the reason, good people, why I have my products. That's Dr. Ford is talking about. My products help you walk through those processes. Because like he said, from where you are to where you want to be, there's a gap. And the gap is normally what keeps people. Like
Yeah.
he talked about
Yeah.
the gap. So listen, click that link in the Shopify store out. Click that link. My products help you walk through this, right? So you can start recognizing those patterns, regulating your nervous system, getting a new revelation, right, on what to do next, right? And then build a rhythm, like he talks about, around the revelation, putting it on read mode. So listen, if you need next step right now, click the link. Click that link. Yeah, link in bio. And listen, Dr. Man, before we get up out of here, I got something else. One more question I want to tie in, and I want you to give the people practical steps that they can. But this question right here, this is a big one. Why do people retreat back to what's comfortable, familiar when they know it doesn't serve them more? This is a big one. What's really going on internally when they retreat back to that? Because I always say people don't fail. They retreat to what's familiar and settle. It's not really a failure. They settle for what's comfortable. But tell the community what's really going on when we do that.
You broke up a little bit, FL. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Can you repeat that for me,
So
please?
the question was, why do people retreat? What's really happening in our brain and bodies when we know what to do? We know better, but yet we settle and go back to what's familiar. What's the process is happening?
Oh, the process that's really happening is it's uncomfortable. It's extremely uncomfortable. And we as human beings like to be comfortable. I mean, what happens? What you don't even like to sleep in a bed that's uncomfortable. You don't even like to be in a car that's uncomfortable. You don't even wear shoes. If you put on some shoes right now and they was a size 8, and I bought you your favorite pair of shoes and they were a size 8, and I bought you every color, you will wear them for 5 minutes, if that, and take them off because they were too uncomfortable for you to continue on in that order, in that direction. And that's what happens in life. However, we have to be able to understand the difference. Am I uncomfortable because I'm changing? And this is why I'm being uncomfortable, because my brain, my body is not familiar. My internal dialogue is not familiar with the steps I'm taking to improve myself and going in life. Or is this a normal routine for me? And this is how life already is, and I'm used to being uncomfortable and used to being stressed and overwhelmed and emotionally dysregulated. You have to know the difference and understand it, and make decisions and choices based on what you know about yourself.
Mm, I like that. I like that. So basically what I hear you saying is that, like you said, we as humans, it's just in our nature. We like to be uncomfortable. So anytime something gets uncomfortable, it's just our first reaction is to retreat to something that is comfortable. So when our money is uncomfortable, we're trying to grow our finances and we have to do different things, different habits, get into different circles. It don't feel comfortable, good people. That's
No.
why most people never level up their money. When relationship, when you got to get around different people, you got to change your language, change your words. Everything in life has a language to it, I tell you, right? So you change that, but it don't feel comfortable. Then you retreat back to those same relationships that do feel comfortable, but you already know those relationships don't serve you. So listen, you gotta be okay. So I hear you saying is we have to be okay with being uncomfortable if we always want to continue to grow.
Yes, growth, and understand with growth comes pressure.
Say that one more time for the people back.
With growth comes pressure.
mm, mm.
And
And
this is
that's
and again, I'm gonna say it again. That with If I understand that with growth comes pressure, then I understand I have to fully understand what I'm taking my body through, and through this transition. It's nearly like birthing a child. indirectly. If I understand the process, I don't get upset, or I don't get nervous, or I don't get shook, or I don't get moved when my belly starts getting bigger. When I start requiring more food to eat, that doesn't move me. I understand the process and what it looks like and what it's going to appear like. So I understand the pressure that comes with this decision I'm making. I also understand that my nervous system, I'm going to be fighting myself externally and all the things externally, but also some things internally also that's been designed in my body to quote unquote keep me safe.
I like it. I like it, man. I like it. Are you hearing this? No, listen, there's nothing wrong with you people. You ain't tripping. You ain't losing your mind. You ain't falling apart. Are you hearing what Dr. Ford is saying? You in a growth spurt. It's just uncomfortable. Anytime, okay, so let me say it like this. I always say this. Life is always gonna be uncomfortable. You just gotta choose your uncomfortable.
Period.
You just got life is not easy, good people. No stretch of the imagination. Right? You gonna always have some discomfort. You just gotta choose your discomfort. Right? Are you choosing the discomfort? You're growing into the better version of yourself, or you choosing to be discomfort because you're activated and you don't even know what's happening within you. That's what Dr. Ford is saying, man. So listen, hey, you with a choice. So, Dr. Ford, before we get up out here, give the people some practical steps that they can take that you give to patients at your clinic, man. Practical steps that they can do to start, number one, understanding the difference between growth and anxiety, and then closing that gap that you talk about, that gap that you mentioned. So give the people some practical steps.
Before I give them two practical steps, but before I say that, I just want the viewers to understand that from a psychological standpoint, the body will always choose familiar discomfort over unfamiliar growth. The body will always choose familiar discomfort over unfamiliar growth. Now,
Wow.
two steps. I think the first step is a simple one. It's just the grounding techniques. I like to say be present wherever your feet are. So what you do is you look down and you look at your 2 feet in front of you, and you visualize your 2 feet, and then you just focus on 5 things you can see in that room that you're in, 4 things that you can see, 3 things that you can smell, 2 things that you can taste, and 1 thing that you can touch. That's going to take you a few minutes to do that, but what it does is it recenters your mind and gets your mind from thinking what you were currently thinking about, and it gets you to calm down and relax. The other one is just a simple breathing exercise, and that's just where you're going to regulate your breathing and control your breathing. I always say you take a deep breath like you're smelling the rose, and you exhale like you're blowing out a candle. You want your inspiration to be a couple seconds lower uh, when you're doing this exercise, and you want your exhaling to be longer than your inspiration during this exercise, and you want to do that 3 to 5 times. And that, my friend, will help you calm down
There
and
it is.
relax your. I shouldn't say calm down. I should say relax your nervous system.
There it is. Those are practical steps from a clinical doctor. He gives his actual patients, right? So you guys can take that. You guys already know 5R framework. It fits right in Dr. Ford stuff. You got to recognize the pattern. You got to regulate body in real time, right? You got to get a new revelation on what to do different in real time, right? Then you got to put that, find a rhythm, build a rhythm around that relation, because you can't keep doing the same thing. And then you put it on repeat every day, right? And like he said, until your body feels familiar with that new level of you. Listen, tell them, man, where they can find you at. You always doing good work in the community, good, Dr. Ford, but just tell the people where they can find you at, and what you got going on right now, which clinic and different things to that nature.
You can find me still always hands to guide you, um, uh, on Southwest 44th and Western. here in Oklahoma City, or support at H2GY on Facebook. It's Hands to Guide You on Instagram. I believe it's Dr. Larry Ford. Follow me, find me for more tips and more information going on with the clinic. Just really the last really 4 or 5 months, we're just getting, because we recently did an expansion. So we're just getting adjusted to the new space and becoming regulated. um, in the new decisions that we made a decision to expand and do some different services. Now we're fully trained EEG, the ability to do EEGs and QEEGs. That's brain mapping. That's layman's term from brain mapping to neurofeedback, and we do 100% of brain maps before we start neurofeedback clinics, and a lot of clinics don't do that. So I'm super excited about that.
Man, man,
This is all. This is all
that's
about. This is
exciting.
all really.
That's exciting.
Yeah, and this is all about the nervous system and regulating the body. So being able to focus more on the nervous system is always important, because it tells where the individual is currently. In a lot of cases, it doesn't make sense to me to set a bunch of goals and objectives of doing this and doing that when they're in fight or flight. So,
That is so true. That
yeah,
is so
and
true.
these are
All
tools
about
that
fight
should
or
be. Yeah,
flight.
these are tools that should be, the two tools that I gave them are really two tools that should be being used every day. I mean, we have to understand behavioral health more and understand the importance of it. Like, we have a routine when we get up in the morning and start our day, and we have a routine when we get home and end our day and before we go to bed. That's all physically. What type of routines do we have for our brains mentally? How do we calm ourselves down? How do we recognize when we're excited, when we're overwhelmed? And it's like, a lot of times we just neglect our mental health. We do, as individuals, as a community, and as a nation, as a planet, I believe. Um, it's like, I see it, and I describe it like this. I see it as a bunch of kids with asthma, and you have asthma, and you have routines that cause you to have asthma attacks, and you don't have an inhaler, you don't have a nebulizer, you have absolutely no plan. Well, I would expect that individual to have a bunch of asthma attacks and have severe anxiety and be
Mm,
overwhelmed and live a poor quality of life. But what if that same individual with asthma had a nebulizer, had an MDI, had a peak flow meter, recognized their symptomology, and had plans in place? I would expect that individual to have a higher quality of life.
yeah.
I would expect that individual to live a normal life. Now apply that to mental health. What's your symptomology? What's your signs? What plans do you have in place when that happens? Who do you talk to? Do you understand your body? What are you telling yourself? Same difference, different principles.
Man, I love it. Look, he just gave y'all the man, he just listen, he just gave y'all the for free. People, he charged people for this. He gave y'all listen, y'all, man, I love it. Cause like what he's saying, I mean, it's so true. Y'all see me all the time. I know routines. I talk about the nervous system work, man. Talk about this. You cannot think your way to safety. You got to retrain your body to it. That's why you always hear me say that, good people. Like your body is how do I say this? Yeah, your mind might be the vehicle, but your body's driving the car. So like your body
Absolutely.
is not bored. You can have all vision boards. You can all the minds you want. You can do all that meditating, your body has to settle down enough and your nervous system has to be regulated enough, right? So it can do what you need it to do. So let's end with this. You don't think way to safety. I said a while ago, you gotta train your body into it. So listen, comment, hit us up, let us know what part of this live you like. Let us know what topics you hear about. Dr. Ford joins me every first Sunday of the month. Hit us up. Let us know what you want to hear. We want to bring you topics and talk about things that you want to know. This is a clinical doctor, mental behavioral health. Been practicing for 20 plus years. And also my good friend. But we want to give you the song. So hit us up, let us know. And if nobody else got questions, I see people saying, hey, what's up? Hey, glad you tuned in for watching. And listen, and until next episode, first Sunday, he's going to join me.
Yeah.
To the episode. Listen, man, y'all have a good Sunday. Dr. Forty, anything else you want to say when we get up out of here?
Now, let's let everybody have a good week, a good month, a good next couple of weeks, and stay motivated and recognize what your mind and your body is telling you.
That's it. That's it, people. Until next time, y'all have a great Sunday. Dare to be you, baby.
There you go.